Well, as Cambodian and the one who live in a country which is engaged or involved in this war, we welcome any peace plan. But my own reaction, I think, both sides, in other words, either side must be sincere about the plan. According to the 9 points proposed in this way I read in the paper, the troops must be withdrawn from our territory, from South Vietnam or from Laos. But the way we experience, we don't think that the North Vietnam withdraw the troops.
Contrary to what we had previously anticipated, Dallas has a much this Dallas area has a much larger concentration of heroin addicts than we thought. We have a pretty good estimate that the heroin addiction population here is about 8,000. Now, that is not to say that this is a recent growth. I think the measurement, the ability to analyze the number of addicts, our ability has increased immeasurably in the last couple of years.
Out of your face with sunshine and smile right back at the sun, for which I've worked some 4.5 years, tend to back it up with action. The consequence when you take truly extreme moves to try to clean the environment. Just merely pointing that out, not only because Texas and Dallas like to brag, but also to show
What can we do, if anything, about the International Olympic Committee and its archaic makeup? We've lost Brundage, he's returned to Magellan or William of Orange, but we have a new one from Ireland who's in his 70s. And there'll be no surcease as men far too advanced in years even to understand contemporary youngsters like Jerry Heidenreich continue to dominate. What can we do about the United States Olympic Committee, which made all those ghastly mistakes that cost so much of the preparation, the accumulated years of training of so many of our young American athletes? Instead of serving the youngsters, which is their function, they defied them by their own blunders. What can we do about them? Are the Olympics really worthwhile anymore? Is it right to spend $650 million for facilities for 2 weeks that really aren't ever used again in a world that's still coping with hunger and poverty? I can't answer those questions. When are you going to learn the National Football League rules? Signed, Don Meredith. I suspect the most vulnerable man in the United States in that area is Dandy Don. Who invited Tex Schramm? I did. I think his record speaks for itself. I kid Tex a lot. I want to say this seriously. We've known one another a lot of years. We used to commute on the New Haven Railroad together when he was up in New York working in the broadcast industry. You can't win a title every year. There are 26 teams, and there is a lot of competition. You just can't do it. But when you can have a team 5 years in a row, competitively, representatively, getting up there and almost winning the title every one of those 5 years, and finally winning it, I think you've achieved the highest degree of excellence. So I think you're lucky to have him here. Who, in your opinion, is the world's greatest active athlete? Now I keep thinking of the past. Bill Toomey. Greatest athlete I think this nation has yet produced died on Tuesday morning past. Jackie Roosevelt Robinson.
Linda Silver of Dallas says she has several Mexican-American friends who want to vote in the upcoming elections, but don't know how to operate the voting machines. Mr. Tom Ellis, who is the Dallas County Clerk, has consented to give me a tour through one of the machines that will be used in Dallas County.
The first step is pull the red handle all the way to the right. This closes the curtain, and then you can start voting. We have 14 constitutional amendments. Some people will want to use the straight party lever and vote one vote, while others will want to vote individual races all the way down the line to get the number of candidates they wish to vote for.
What if a person has a write-in vote?
Person wants to write-in vote, he'll come to the top and lift the little window, and he'll write in the candidate of his choice for that particular office. Of course, once he's raised this little lever, he cannot vote down below.
If a person is disabled or elderly and unable to operate the voting machine, is there someone at the voting, the place where he votes that could help him?
Yes, the election judge can appoint 2 people to assist. Of course, that person can also bring someone from home who's a qualified voter, and that one person can assist the voter if he's disabled.
And what if a person is unable to speak or read English and can't understand the instructions?
The judge can do the same thing. He can appoint a person who can speak that language, and this person must take an oath to interpret and to assist this voter.
If you have any problems or questions, please write me at Contact 8, Communications Center, Dallas. That's Contact 8. I'm Cecile Burandt.
There's enough paper here to carpet the floor wall to wall, and apparently this is a fairly accurate representation of the amount of material which comes before each member of the Dallas City Council during the course of a year. City Council agendas, memorandums from the City Manager's office, various kinds of reports, some of them several inches thick. Enough material almost to make the City Council job in Dallas a full-time position just because of the paperwork involved. But the job in the nation's 8th largest city is only a part-time position, at least theoretically. And so the volume of paperwork is a problem that each member of the City Council apparently must work out on his own.
What I do with the reams of paperwork that we get, I have the administrative staff office put it in a box for me and then take it to the different schools so that they can use the back of it for scratch paper, because I feel that it's just a lot of waste.
But this is not to say Mrs. Martinez and the other council members ignore the paperwork which comes before them. Mrs. Martinez, for example, spends about 20 hours a week going through the material she gets. For Mayor Wes Wise, the solution has been a speed reading course. And while this might not be the approach used by other council members, all of them seem to have their own special plan to cope with the paperwork problem.
It's infinitely less than it was 2 years ago. I think the administration has done quite a job of eliminating a lot of the detailed paperwork that used to come to us, but there's still much too much for the amount of time that we have to work with it.
In return for the time spent on paperwork and other official duties, each council member gets $50 a week, in keeping with the philosophy of city government in Dallas. The idea is that people will run for the city council not because of the money they can make, but because they want to serve their city. The volume of paperwork, though, has become a problem apparently for even the most public-spirited council member, and relief is being sought through a plan which is to be discussed at the council's retreat next weekend. And if a solution is found, it won't come any too soon for the Dallas City Council. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
These lights are bad.
Please, or take a few pictures right now, and then we'll get with the zoning. We can't.
Has expressed concern that the majority of property crimes in the country are done.
Well, I have a couple of advantages, perhaps. I am a speed reader. I actually took a... Well, see the plats. I might explain to the audience that the City Council receives the plats on paving cases, zoning cases, also the regular agenda.
Chief Dyson, what would you say is the status of the investigation?
City Council Committee of 3 members be appointed by the mayor to work in close cooperation with the city manager,
Item,
Chief Dyson, and the city attorney to inquire into the details.
Mayor Pro Tem Ted Holland and myself as the other 2 members.
Undue pressure can be put on.
If we see anything that we
One, after section 1 where it says to work with the mayor, the city manager, Chief Dyson, and the city attorney, I would like to also add that we bring in an impartial professional.
The armed robbery suspect was shot down as he fled a car parked in the Lancaster Keast Shopping Center parking lot. Tactical Squad Officer Steve Brasher, a 22-year-old patrolman with less than 2 years on the force, spotted a red Falcon parked on the lot, which answered the description of one wanted in connection with the robbery of a service station earlier in the afternoon. As Patrolman Brasher was looking over the identification of 2 black male occupants, one reportedly went for a gun concealed under his coat. Following a shootout, 20-year-old Larry Turner was dead at Parkland Hospital. Another man, a woman, and an infant were downtown, the man being questioned as an accomplice.
No, there's ever indication that the officer was completely justified and acted properly, and I would say he should be commended, in fact, from the information I have at this point, that he acted in a most admirable way. And I'm pleased to announce these facts, which have been established, in hopes that any rumors that may be developing in the community now can be put to rest and the facts be known to everyone. As other facts become available in this investigation, I will report those to you.
Chief Dyson, what is the status of the investigation surrounding Assistant Chief Fulgham at this time?
That investigation has not been completed. It will be as quickly as possible, hopefully the early part of this week, and I will have an announcement to make in that regard as soon as that investigation is complete.
The resolution setting up the investigating committee was read by Mayor Pro Tem Ted Holland. The resolution directs the committee to work closely with the city manager, Police Chief Frank Dyson, and the city attorney with the hope of stopping the rumors. Mayor Wes Wise appointed Councilman Holland, Russell Smith, and himself as committee members, with Smith to serve as the chairman. Gary Weber tried to change the wording of the resolution so that a professional outside organization would be called in to help with the investigation, but Weber's motion died for lack of a second.
Be sure, because
Do you know about that, Mr.
we'll have to check all of those names.
Those that are tied into the investigation and the grand jury, but if there are other questions that have nothing to do with that phase of it, can we answer those next week?
We can look at it from that.
Maybe you want to appoint that, will you, if you'll
Well,
reappoint
I'd
that
wanted
committee?
to, yeah. Well, I'll repeat it. It was Russell Smith as chairman.
The Dallas County line talked with me at police headquarters and told me what he saw.
I came out of the Treasure City department store. And
Turn around, get him, Chuck. Be right back. Were you and your brother involved in it? I beg your pardon.
While they're in custody on the way to see the judge.
I beg your pardon, I'm sorry.
They're on the way to be arraigned before a magistrate. Don't interview them now.
Thank you very much. You were about to say.
Okay, I came out of Treasure City, and as I was walking between parked cars, I heard some shouting. I looked to my right, and there was a policeman standing by the car, two colored men, and one colored man threw his jacket open, reached inside, and the policeman shoved him and ran to the rear of the car. The colored man took off. The policeman hollered at him to stop, and then the colored man took a shot at him, and the policeman shot back and yelled again for him to stop, but he just kept on firing. The policeman fired about maybe 5 or 6 shots.
How many shots did the suspect fire?
I would say 3 or 4.
And I believe that any investigation that's made of a department of the city ought to be made by and under the auspices of the city manager's office. I believe in having a council committee involved in this is bringing politics into the police department. I think this can only result in some woes for all of us and for the city of Dallas.
Mayor Wise countered Allen's remarks by indicating the city charter does give the council the authority to conduct such investigations, and the resolution passed with only one negative vote, the vote cast by Allen. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move. The discovery was made just before 5 o'clock this morning behind Kip's Restaurant in the 1500 block of University Drive. The dead man, identified as 56-year-old Elbert E. Leggett of Lake Providence, Louisiana, was locked in his car and wrapped in a blanket in the back seat with an ice chest and a briefcase on top of him. He had been shot 4 times through the arms and chest with a high-powered rifle. The discovery was made by Dennis Taylor, the night manager of Kip's Restaurant.
The car's been sitting out here for about a week, and we try and keep an eye on all the cars. And I walked out tonight and was looking around it, and I smelled something funny. And then I came, as I was leaving, going home tonight, and I walked out around the corner of the building. The smell was quite strong, and that's when I decided I better call the police and have them come out and investigate it.
Lieutenant Oliver Ball of the Fort Worth Police Department's homicide detail told me that he is stumped for a motive in the murder. The dead man, Leggett, had more than $900 in cash in his billfold. Other valuables were also left untouched, such as a rifle in the back floor. Ball said Leggett reportedly had been on a hunting trip in California, leaving his home 3 weeks ago. There is information that he picked up a hitchhiker, and a search is out for him at this time. Leggett is a retired paint contractor and has no police record. When police forced open the trunk of the car later this morning, they discovered the remains of a dressed-out bear Leggett had apparently killed while in California. 3 other rifles were also discovered, and each is now being tested as a possible murder weapon. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move in Fort Worth.